Thank you very much, David, and everybody. I've just been really enjoying hearing the great poetry and our wonderful features today on October 8th, 2024 for Spoken World Online, week number 237. And I'm going to read today from the Roarshock page. I put a link to the text in the chat. This is Roarshock Europe Journal 2016. Across the Bodensee, Lake Constance on ferry boat, rocking and rolling and roiling, the roiling ice-cold green-blue waters from Roarshock to Lindau. Farewell to the Confederatio Helvetica, Swiss Confederation, the sturdy land of thrift and wealth, and a hello, Bundesrepublik Deutschland, Germany, and a return to the European Union, where also can be found thrift and wealth, along with a cacophony of contradictions and diversity. The rambling rails of trains, the bursts of end of summer heat gave way to waves of rain as autumn begins. Oktoberfest began with traditional Bavarian people sour at hordes of outside interlopers pouring into Munich, displaying much loutish behavior, even while those same locals and their relations raked in the visitors' cash. Hauptbahnhof, central train station, crawling with humanity and heavily armed police, machine guns at the ready against unrest, and especially to thwart any possible attacks by the suicide death cultists who are a plague and scourge on our modern world. Night trains are not as easy to ride for old Roarshock as they were a decade or even 6 years ago. The young man in the compartment was from the rural Midwest of the United States, drunk on Marzen beer. He proclaimed this to be his first trip to Europe. He said he was 28 years old and had told his mother that he would not call home every day. He passed out and slept all the way to Italy. In Venezia, Venice, it is free to roam the ancient twisted streets, to cross the bridges and watch boats on the canals, but that's about all. You have to pay to pee. Still, art and splendorous decay are everywhere, and without invitation, balconies and mysterious private courtyards can be glimpsed through holes in tall garden walls. Yes, there is every opportunity to pay admissions in Venice, and some, like the Gallery dell'Accademia, are well worth the price. Filled with mighty works of the Venetian school, here are great masterpieces by Giorgione, Titian, Tintoretto, and Veronese, and the workshop of Giovanni Bellini, and also works of medieval painters. They even have a Caravaggio on display. But the true Rorschach test in those halls is feeling the spirit of the great artists reaching forward centuries from their presences when Venice was a world empire. Fresh fish from the lagoon, espresso and wine in the Campo Santa Margherita, endless tourists and with hotel maps, and the real Venetians going about their routines as always. For me, it was more Venetian attics and dreams, as on my previous visit, the hotel where I stayed lodged me in an attic room. That first trip in 2009, I had a devastating nightmare wherein a small angry ghost was very annoyed and berated me for being there in the room. I awoke in great fright and sprang up out of the bed. I kept the lights on for the remainder of the night. This time, also in Doris Duro, the hotel was in what had started as a medieval Venetian palace. Up top of the worn marble stairs in the attic room each night, I dreamed a whole and vivid life and adventures. This is all I recall, for the details of that life and time are somewhere behind the ancient walls. The last night in Venice, that dream continued until a moment when I realized I had died. I was dead, and death had closed in all around me in a darkness, incredibly lonely, and feeling so sad and sorrowful that the life and adventure I knew were over, and I was cut off from them forever. So I awoke thus in the cool night of my present time and life, disturbed and unsettled, that I did not need to turn an electric light on, feeling no ghosts about. Having barely visited Italy, a train clickety-clacked back north to cross the Brenner Pass, as has been done by countless others for centuries, including my parents on several occasions, and myself once before, only that time I was heading down the mountains into Italy for my first visit. I was making good use of the water closet when somebody banged hard on the door. When I emerged, it was the Austrian border police, and they did not crack a smile. But after they looked at my US passport, they thanked me and continued through the train. Back in Munich, the weather had turned lovely and the Oktoberfest was in full swing. So I greatly enjoyed the flashing lights and whirling rides and all the noisy sounds as the twilight turned into night. I drank beer and ate a pretzel and made it back to the station in time for one last grueling night train headed north. Amsterdam, a city of great cats with great attitudes. On every visit here, I have been charmed by the cats of Amsterdam. This was the first visit ever that I did not stay up by the Vondelpark. This time I got a hotel room downtown in the Centrum, near Amsterdam Central train station. Convenient and perfectly quiet in my room, but step outside into the din of the everlasting party. It was a hot day on Saturday and a balmy Saturday night. All through the Centrum, the sidewalk cafes and bars overflowed the streets with boisterous patrons drinking beer and spirits, the air thick with cannabis and tobacco smoke. Everywhere merriment as holiday makers from the earth's four corners and all points between indulged their appetites for hedonistic pleasure, while the locals continued to serve them and make more money. On Sunday, the revelry will continue at just a slightly lower roar. More space opens up to appreciate other intellectual grandeur here in art, books, music, engineering, and science. Amsterdam remains truly one of the world's greatest cities. Back in Paris for a final 2016 European weekend and to further explore the paths where expatriate writers walked many decades ago, to pass by the entryways of buildings where they lived, and missing the hardly strictly bluegrass festival going on back home in SF. The math of opportunity favored another weekend in Paris over the beloved annual ritual. Monday morning, I'll board my plane to return to San Francisco, which I love, where I live and work. I'll be happy to be back off the road, but ready again soon to return to Europe, which has so much more to show me. I hope the time apart won't be too long. Thanks.